Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to share some information about shared preference in Android. What is shared preference? Well, it's a mechanism of storing our data in the form of key value pair so that when you want to run the application, each time the app should not prompt you to insert a particular record. For example, if you want to store your username and password so that for the first time when the app will be executing, since the key will not be generated and it will not have any value, so obviously it will be prompting you to enter some data. Like for example, this app is running for the first time, so there is no previous value. But if I perform the operation once, let me show you. Suppose I'm giving the first number over here. Let me provide a first number. Suppose I'm providing 40 and the second number providing it 30, and now I will go for the operation. I performed the summation, it showed me the result and the program got saved. So now if I switch off my emulator and even if I switch off my application from the Android Studio, now if I run the app once again, since it already got executed for the first time, so naturally when it will be displaying the output of the app, it will show the previous sum. That means the entire operation had been recorded, and even after I switch off my system, after a few days also if I switch on, the app will be prompting me this value. Now again, if I go for any kind of modification, the last change will be applicable. See, the sum is this, but it's showing me the previous result. So if I switch it off and if I switch off my emulator, and now again if I start it, it will show me the result that was having the last time. Okay, so each time you're performing the operation, whatever would be the last value that it will be holding. And I have also done one more thing. Suppose if I insert a 0 over here, and you click, the result is 0. Now if I switch it off and if I switch off from the Android Studio, let me start it once again, and this time it will show me a little bit different statement. See, the previous result was 0. Okay, it's not showing me anymore 0 plus 0 equals 0. So you can manipulate your statement according to your requirement. That also was very clear. So that means there are three basic phases. The first time, absolutely the app is running, it will be prompting you some message. In between, you have provided some value, it will be holding that value. And if you want to customize the result in a particular fashion, that also can be done, like what I have done over here. So let's move to the code part now. Very simple would be the XML part. The XML will be having to edit text, one button and one text view to show me the result. Okay. Now shared preference is basically a class, and I have created the shared preference reference variable, and I've written over here in the command line that it will create a copy, a memory in the memory block. And similarly, I will be having another reference variable, that is editor. Okay, I will consider that if this is a copy in which I'm supposed to write something, then editor would be a pen through which I will be writing. Okay, so preference is like a classmate copy, and editor is like any kind of link pen you can consider. Okay, and there are some variables which I have declared. Now let's come to the onCreate method. I've given a call to init field. This is a custom made method. Here I basically initialize all the reference variable. Now the initialization of this particular reference variable was not done. Now I'm going to do the initialization over here, and when I'm initializing I'm using get shared preference. Here I'm performing two argument. In the first argument, I'm saying a particular name, that is I've given away a sum. Now what is the relevant of this one? This is basically going to create a memory block where I will be, well, the memory block already got created and that memory block has not been provided any name. So here I am providing the name for that memory block. Whatever name you want, you can choose it, and that name I would like that it should be locked and no other application apart from this app should use it. So that means the memory block that has been created by the preference had been given a name called sum, and it will be explicitly used for this application. No other application can share or can utilize this particular memory block. That reason the context type has been made as mode private. And after I have done that, until this line, the copy was created, but there was no reference about the link pen. So here I'm writing the preferences dot edit. So it will be stating that this particular pen should be meant for this particular copy. So this particular line is where the copy and pen both do come to know each other, and other initialization also I have done. So that's how my init field gets over. Now it comes over here at the beginning. Just imagine the if part will be working at the very beginning as well, and I'm supposed to provide the input and then I'm supposed to click the button, so there will be an event associated to this button as well. So but for the first time when the init field got executed, then the if preference will be getting executed, and here what I'm checking is I'm checking that this particular preference had been created before or not, and for that reason I am maintaining a count over here. That means it will be counting that whether it's the first time or not, and since I already said that there is a situation where I will be checking whether the previous result is 0 or not, so I'm also going to consider that part. But before I move to that, so there is a count over here, and if you see over here the count had been initialized to 0. Okay, so the first time the count will be 0, and since this count is an integer type, then that's the reason I have given over here default value 0. Okay, so this particular parameter will tell what type of data type the key is. Again I'm saying what type of data type the key is will be represented by this parameter. Okay, and currently at this key, if the content is 0, if the content is 0, that means this is the first statement, and then it's going to show you no previous value. But if it is not that, that means obviously the one operation had been performed. So let's go and perform one operation, then we will get back to the else if part once again. So over here is my method, and what the method is going to do, I will provide to input in the to edit text, so that has been typecasted, and then I will perform the summation. Here I am incrementing the counter, so initially it was 0, and then the counter will be incremented to 1, and then I am going to use the key value pair, which I already said at the very beginning. A shared preference work in the concept of key value pair. With the help of the pen, I am going to store the data which is there in the num1, and since num1 is of integer type, so I am using the method putInt, and the key name is called num1. So n1 is going to have the value which is getting stored in the num1, n2 is also having a value which will be getting stored in the num2, or whatever the sum it has generated, that will be getting stored in the previous sum, and the count has been incremented from 0 to 1, that also will be saved in the variable called count. Okay, so these are all the keys you can say, and these are all the values. So value will keep on changing, but the key will remain as it is. So all this operation has taken place by the pen, but that has to be applicable, that has to be saved, that has to be committed. So here I'm performing the commit operation, I'm applying the change so that the reflection takes place even in the shared preference area. And if I have to perform a toast message, here I perform the toast message. Okay, so that means after this operation is getting over, now if I go to the else if part, it will be very meaningful. Here I am checking is the value of count, which is basically integer type, is having a default value of 0, is it greater than 0? And I'm also checking the preference dot get in, the previous sum had been 0, which is also integer type, is having 0. That means both the condition is going to be true. That means it had been the calculation had been performed at least 1, and the result if it is 0, then I will say previous result was 0, and that's what you can see over here. But had there been some other values over, in that case this will not be shown. Okay, because you are let me switch off the emulator once more, the app once more, and let me execute it finally. So this time neither the first statement is going to work, because the count is no longer 0, then the count and sum is no longer 0, so this statement will not work. So over here when you see the output, it will be showing you just a minute, I don't know why it didn't work out. Let me just run for the last time, hopefully it will be working. Okay, there has been a launch of activity, and here it is. I don't know why it's not showing. At times this problem occurs in my system, and very recently I have updated it, and then onward this particular emulator has been creating a problem. Okay. So let me search from here. Hopefully I'll be getting it from here even. Sorry, I'm not getting it. Okay, so I hope you understood the thing. Now let me come to the else part, and I already said that if none of the conditions is going to be true, then the else part is going to work. In the else part, what I'm going to do is that I'm fetching the value of num1, I'm fetching the value of num2. Remember, these two are the numeric values, so I'm using the default value 0 0, and I'm also using the getIn method. And since the output has to be shown in the text view, so I have to go for converting this whole statement into string, and that's the reason string the value of had been written. And in between I was showing plus sign. If you remember, 10 plus 20 equals to 30, that was a statement, so plus was also been there, and this equal to has been. So these things that you just basically use to show the statement that will look good actually. And the previous sum, which is basically also data type of integer, that's the reason 0 is there. Whatever this the result these variables are going to have, all these things will be typecast in the string type, and then finally it will be displayed in the text view. Okay, so that's how the shared preference is going to work. So before I sum up once again, let me tell you the shared preference is going to provide you a memory block, and that memory block will be having some name, and you will be saving it by some particular locking mechanism so that your app alone can work on that. And within that particular shared preference, you will be using a editor like what I've done over here, and with the help of the editor you will be inserting some key value pairs taken from the input from the user, and the app will check that particular key the time when it will be starting, and accordingly it will perform its behavior. Okay, I think this particular video helped you to get some idea about shared preference. If not, then please give me an update. Surely I will take care about it. Until my next video, have a nice time.